Chris Halloween may not have gone how he expected, and Rochelle is working, but she's also trying to get laid off from her job. But we'll talk about all of that in this review and recap. It's Halloween time. Mr. Omar stopped by. He was seeing what Chris and the family was up to. Rochelle said her job's having a party, so that's where her and Julius will be, and Drew and Tanya will be at home. Mr. Omar was surprised they weren't going trick-or-treating, but it just seemed like this year they weren't really trying to do anything. Which means he's gonna be up to something later, or at least you think it was him. Chris overheard that the family has plans this year, so he finally gets to do his own thing this year. Now, Chris and Greg were at the store picking out costumes, talking about what party to go to, and to be fair, does Greg really need to be picking any parties to go to? Because the last time he mentioned something about a party, it wasn't what they thought it was. And just then Tasha showed up, so he pushed Greg out the way because he trying to talk to her. She invited him to a church lock-in, but he was trying to go to a party, trying to have fun, but y'all know he gonna go. Over at Rochelle's job, which I was like, she's working again? That's what's up, but of course, she not trying to stay there. She was gonna go talk to her boss, and one of her co-workers ran out happy. That dude Chuck had got laid off, which means he about to get that money. And that's when Rochelle decided that she was gonna try to do the same thing. She just won't stay at these jobs. It would bring in more money, but like she always says, her man got 2 jobs. Guess he must have dropped that 3rd job when she did. Now Rochelle's at home trying to convince Julius to help her annoy her boss so she can get laid off from her job. She told him about the money and the benefits. He did decide to help her, probably because she's gonna be bringing some money in, but she will never learn. She just gonna keep quitting or just trying to find different ways to leave her jobs. Chris is at the church and it didn't go the way he expected. They separated the boys and the girls, which means he's not able to talk to Tasha. At least for now, that is. While that was going on, Rochelle and Julius arrived at her job's party, and the first thing they tried to do was wear some risky costumes. Then she decided to be disrespectful, talking about the cake they were going to eat. She kept changing the temperature on the thermostat and they were racing down the aisles in chairs. That actually looked pretty fun. Over at the house, Drew and Tanya are eating some of the candy that they were supposed to pass out to other people. They watching TV and the phone rings and it's just breathing over the phone. They started to get scared and then the TV went out and it's nothing but static. In addition to some noises outside and more. They went to go see Mr. Omar and they got surprised by his costume and Tanya stabbed him with a fork. I was like, whoa, calm down. They thought he was the one doing all that stuff to scare them, but he just did the basic stuff to scare them. He didn't do anything else. It was kind of funny because Chris' narration said he thinks their home was haunted by the husbands of the widows Mr. Omar hooked up with over the years. By the way they showed up, it looked like they were about to give him the ghost beats and bother him every single day. Back at the church, Chris is talking to everyone, trying to convince them to go over and talk to the girls and have fun partying. This dude over here corrupting people. At first, they didn't agree with him, but eventually they did. Chris and Tasha had a much needed talk. She thought them partying was getting out of hand. She told him she didn't mean to push church too much. It just, she kind of has a lot going on. Her mom's an ex-stripper. She doesn't know who her dad is, and she gets bullied at school for not liking a certain artist. And the church is what she needs, and she doesn't want anything to jeopardize her relationship with God, and they agreed to be friends. I think that's understandable. She wants to focus on that. Her life does have a lot going on here and there, and her going to church is helping her out. Also, it is good that Chris understands that and decided to be friends with Tasha and not get an attitude. Now, just because things didn't work out with him and Tasha doesn't mean he failed. She did talk to someone and put in a good word for him. He ended up kissing that new person, and right when that happened, the chaperone woke up. She woke up seeing them kissing, partying, and the youth leader ended up blaming Chris. He didn't have to say that, but it was kind of Chris's fault. And they started throwing stones at him. That night might not have ended how he wanted, but he did make some progress. As for Julius and Rochelle, after everything they did, she didn't get laid off, she got promoted. The lady that works there, she let them know that their boss dislikes spending money on severance packages. That's why it's so impossible for them to get laid off. After she told Rochelle that, it looks like she's not going to give up, and maybe she even saw it as a challenge. So maybe she's going to keep that job for the rest of the season and try to get laid off or just give up and quit. Either way, she not giving up trying to get laid off from her job, and that is hilarious to say. I mean, she did get promoted. She could just work hard trying to earn that money. Overall, I thought it was a good episode. It was cool that Chris understands where Tasha was coming from and that they're remaining friends. But he did end up meeting somebody new, and Rochelle still trying to quit a job and not stay. And the Tanya and Drew part was pretty funny. But I'm interested to hear y'all thoughts. Comment below. What did you all think about the episode?